there. So I am so happy that you are a woman who is inspired to integrate your life and your business and your faith and your Christianity all together into your life. And if you're anything like me and you've been out there for a while figuring out how best to launch your mission-based business, then I have a feeling you may resonate with what I'm about to say. Do you ever just get exhausted from it all? From all of the options that you have available to gather more information, all of the new ideas that are coming through all the time, right? Things like, I even wrote some notes down here. Take your marketing to the next level. You can write better copy, learn new TikTok skills, create your content engine, step up into your greatness, and create your signature course. Join this big challenge and get into this new academy to learn everything that you need to learn about starting a business, growing a business, launching a business. Do you get so frustrated hearing people talk about how they're going to show you how to get more focused and do more networking and get better connections and earn more money and bridge the gap and get the low-hanging fruit and all the good stuff that you're obviously missing out on? Everything is making you feel that feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, I'm not doing enough. I don't know enough. I am not doing it right. God, what is wrong with me? That is what I feel most of the time. And I am just so tired of all of the opportunities to get into another training program, go into another academy, go into another group, go into another challenge. You've heard them all. So what is the solution to that, right? I know that we all realize that starting a business is complicated. There's a lot of pieces to it. I teach a lot about that in my WIN, the Women's Impact Network group. And I talk about these 5 phases and stages that you have to go through to grow an online business if you're a coach or a consultant or a service provider of some sort, right? You've got to hold up all of those pieces. And I even show them on a track that is a figure 8 because it's infinity. It never stops. You are either creating more target marketing, right? Figuring out who am I serving and what's my messaging going to look like and what's my offer going to look like. And then you figured that part out. That's your targeting. Then you move into the next part, which is now I've got to build my list. How am I going to do that? Am I using email sequences? Do I have a lead magnet? Do I have a podcast? Do I do another challenge? What am I doing to build that list and grow that list, which is important, by the way. Okay. But then once you've got the list, now you've got people that are coming on there. You've got the next thing that you have to do, which is you have to start building a rapport and a relationship with those people. I call this qualifying stage. They have to get to know and trust you. And that requires you to start writing all this email content, creating all these videos, inviting people to free events. Okay, that's a lot of work there, but that piece of it can't be shortchanged. So now you go through this whole qualifying piece. People are starting to get to know and trust you. Now you get to do the sales part of it. Now, what's involved with sales? Probably a lot of calls, a lot of times that you have to get on these calls with people, get to know people, get to bring them through a process of figuring out whether what you have to offer is right for them. And in a lot of cases, that whole sales process involves a lot of follow-up because we know that people don't typically buy until the 5th or the 12th connection. So now you've got this whole sales process that you're going to have to be on top of. And finally, when you do get a customer, it doesn't stop. No, now you own that customer experience. You have to onboard that customer. You have to deliver whatever it is and fulfill on whatever you promise to that customer. Are you exhausted yet? Right? There's a lot to running a business. for a solopreneur. And I know from experience because I did it for 15 years. So is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it tiring? Yes, it's tiring. Is it lucrative? Yes, it can be very lucrative, but you have to be at a certain point where this is really what you want to do. Now, I know that for a lot of you, that's not exactly what you want. Yes, you want to build wealth. You want to have a monthly recurring revenue stream that's supporting you and your family and allowing you to fulfill your mission in the world. Now, you may not actually want to be charging people for the mission work that you want to do in the world, because that may be your gift and your calling. And for most of us, we're told that we should charge what we're worth and that don't devalue what you bring out into the world. Well, just because you feel called to do something and you feel like it's your life's work and your mission doesn't necessarily mean that you have to charge people for it. Because sometimes that kind of takes away from the idea that it's your gift that you want to share with the world. And so it creates a disconnect. So anyway, I'm off the track a little bit here, but this idea that we're inundated with all of this messaging and we're told that we have to do all of these things and it's complicated and we don't really know what to do next. And we get that FOMO, right? Again, that fear of missing out. Like if I'm doing one thing, then I'm not doing something else. So I probably should be doing that. So we end up chasing all these shiny objects, right? Running down all these paths and trying this and trying that. And nothing really is working. And here's a reason for that. And I'm going to tell you what it is. And it is actually a quote from Luke chapter 12. And he said, "You can't keep your true self hidden forever. Before long, you'll be exposed." And that is exactly what your problem is. You are trying to be all things. You are trying to copy other people. You are trying to build a business based on somebody else's success and what they claim is the right way to do it, but you are not being authentic to yourself. And that is where I want to help you. This is really what the point of this particular episode is, because there's going to come a point for all of us where there's just too much information. There's just too much money that has to be invested. There's just too many ideas that have to be sorted out. There's too much to learn. There's too much to do. And it becomes never ending. So I had that, right? I realized that until I finally think I got hit over the head very recently by the Holy Spirit. And I came to realize that I have to just be me. And that's good enough. And I know what message I'm supposed to deliver out into the world. I know that I am here to create a movement of mission-driven women, and that I'm here to show women how to love their entire self, including their Christianity and their spirituality and their health and their well-being and their business, and how to wrap that all together. Now, obviously, I'm all about faith, my belief in Jesus, family, my belief that family is the root of fixing the world. And love starts with, yes, it starts with our neighbor, but it has to start at home. It has to start with the way that we bring up our families and we interact with our families. And so it's faith and it's family. And then for me, it's freedom. It's the freedom not to have to be somebody else, but to be able to come out into the world and share what I have to share in the way that feels right for me and is led how I am led by Jesus to show up. So I know that is probably appealing to you. And so I'm going to invite you to start working through this process of really saying, in my perfect world with Jesus as my mentor, guided by the Holy Spirit, and I pray ask God, what does that look like? Where do I show up? Who do I serve? What is my message? And don't worry so much about how the money is going to come, because I found out a year and a half ago that making money can be really easy. I've always done it the hard way until recently, when I found an easy way to make money that's perfectly legitimate and totally above board and totally in alignment with my Christian values. And it's simple. So I share a lot about that over in my group, WIN, the Women's Impact Network, which the link to that is in the description here. You can go and you can join that group and learn more about that. But for now, and what I would encourage you today is, don't worry so much about what everybody else is doing and how everybody else is showing up. Go talk to God and write it out. What would it look like for you if you could show up as your authentic self? And I'll be talking more about authenticity probably in the next video. But what does it look like for you? And what is it that you would love to do in the world? Like, how would you want to deliver your work? I know for me, a lot of the work that I do best is one-on-one. It's not really as much of group. I love this, right? This is my way of really coming out and reaching the masses. And if you didn't listen to my last YouTube podcast, it was really about why I've chosen this platform to get my message out there, because I know that YouTube is where people are searching. And I know there are a lot of people searching. And I know that if I can get my voice out there and I can share the good news and I can share the word and I can share my business expertise, that I'm going to attract the people who are ready to hear that message. And I have to be somewhere and you have to be somewhere. Where do you want to be? Right? There's lots of social media platforms. There's ways to do local networking, but you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to pick some place, and then you have to be clear about who you want to attract. Who's your tribe? Who do you want to speak to? Who's God want to speak to through you? Right? And once you get that, then we can work together, and I will share my insights with you and help you and guide you and encourage you to go out and be you, be authentic. So we'll talk more about that in the next episode. So thank you for joining. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, so you will actually get notified when I do go live. And it's not always the same. I try to get at least once a week, but when I'm inspired, I will obviously be putting more content out here. And always, I invite you to like what you're seeing here. So more people, it will get pushed out to more people, because that's what this movement is about. Like, the more women we can bring into our group, the more women we have to support one another. And this is how we link arms and we rise together as the divine feminine. So come on over to the WIN group. That's www.winwithjanet.com. And I will see you there. And bye until we meet again next time.